Ladies and gentlemen, we're back in it again. Just got to wait for the queue to go down, and then we'll be swinging right in there. So yeah, yesterday couldn't really play because it was like 5k, and I am not waiting for a 5k. We're not waiting for a 5k. So let's tip that up a little bit. So yeah, we're only on 45 at the moment. So ba-dum. Did a little Hades this morning. Was trying to go through and continue on the stuff I did yesterday, really, where I wasn't using any of the what was it? Any of the wish I could remember. The measures, all the different, like the contract that you sign, just doing the basic on number one. And the reason for this was because, well, we've been doing so much with regards to the different, adding the different modifiers on, that it gets a bit over the top. So I wanted to go through and just do the basics, so I could get some materials. I could get the Titan blood, I could get the diamonds, I could get the ambrosia, and that makes it a heck of a lot easier for me. I do love this artwork. This that we're seeing now is beautiful. There's a turtle up there on the right, and a dragon, which means that's got to be the Far East. Right. Let's get rid of that. Now, we got to do some duty roulettes. Say hello to the okay, let's queue for should we go for frontline? That is a gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous character. Level 90. It's been one day, guys. Yeah, speed demon indeed. Been one fucking day. Oh, 86, okay. 64. There's another 90. How are people doing this? I don't know where people get the time. Do they just not sleep? It took me like 2.5 hours yesterday to get from level 70 to 71. I know the MSQ is going to make it super easy when I get there. But god damn it. Right. Should we do some quests around here? Because there's got to be some quests. I've got a shit ton of quests over here. Let's abandon that because I don't plan on ever doing that at any point. Let's go around and get some of these quests. We'll do some of these quests while we're waiting, I suppose, in queues, because otherwise it's just going to take so long in queues. At least it's a little bit of XP, even if it's not that much, it's better than nothing.
In about half hour.
See ya. So where is this guy then? Never actually been up here. Okay. Gotcha. Oh, I forget you get an XP boost from these. That's pretty neat. Where is the sightseeing clock kept? Here it is. Well, there's one over here anyway. Bitch. Gotcha. surely. Shall I? Fuck it. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it on DK, shall we? 513 item level. Gwendolyn, do you have some time to talk? I would like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at Hatton began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organisation known as the Teleporori. The Teleporori's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith prevented for primal summonings. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered at all. But after what happened to Arenvold and Fedola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Teleporori are under the leadership of Fan Daniel and one of other delightful fellows, Xenos Galvus, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Garlemald into an ever deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, but that has changed, and in troubling ways. Aye, during our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. 'Twas an eerie fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with a narier word spoken did they labour to transform the place into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume even, that these events too were orchestrated by Teleporori. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of the recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way in Charlayan, I am sure of it. Master Foucault's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The forum knows more than it is letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We've just received word from Mistress Kryles. She says that arrangements for your visit have been finalised. About time you're to head to Limsa Lominsa and board the next ship bound for and on arrival present yourself as associates of the student of Baldessian, come to assist with the orders of restoration. The arrangements may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. I am eager to see it, of course. We should set off at once. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry, wish you a safe journey. So I'm guessing we're going to be going. La 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 la. Aye. No, we need to go to Limsa Lominsa. To Limsa Lominsa, ladies and gentlemen. Arcanist Guild. To the Arcanist Guild. Oh, so you get a sage from here then. Let me in. No, not Garnet. God damn it. God damn it. Wait, why am I... Okay. Guys. Game. I just wanted to go over the barriers. Why do I do this to myself? Yep. Thank you. The music for this game is really nice. Right. No, go away. Leave me alone. Everyone's here, which is good because I've already paid for your passage and the fee is non-refundable. The ship for now should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule. Or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's winds are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just... We're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends. I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori! Coulternay! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye. We, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Charlian!
Alright.
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
Oh, this is the woman we saw back, but you guys didn't see it with me.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal. After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Eidolon has always been, a primal.
The second primal.
Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental. Which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Charlian's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again. And soon.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Charlian.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes. But we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you? Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian said. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Charlian proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
And there we are, there's the intro. We're now fully in Endwalker. No turning back.
Charlian, the solitary island nation of the northern sea.
That's, who is it? Hades!
Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
Nighttime. Bit weird.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Charlian all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, As a nation, Sharlayan only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders. Especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we? Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows. That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
They're not going to keep that in mind, so what's going to happen?
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
Keep a low profile.
Indeed. Your profile describes you as an adventurer, but one also trained in the rather more constructive pursuits of procurement and production. You may enter.
I don't know whether I could have gotten that
And
wrong.
you, sir?
Estinian Valinor, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formerly, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
If you'll allow me... My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Hey, Cryle!
Cryle, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you all seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Oh yay, we've got to do this again! Oh, let's not run too far off, let's go back. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to grab your land legs back. What does it look like? Still not as good as the guillotine. Horse chestnut. But this is Gwendolyn Estinian's first time in Sharlayan, and for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you are dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you all may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldician Annex. How does that sound? 'Tis a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Levier estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighbourhood all the same. I am equally untethered, as it were. There is no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with this city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Etheria Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. We'll see you there. I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith by thy leave. What of you, Estinian? My services are, as a guild guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. But I could... oh. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Oh, of course. I will have... if you will have me. Come, Gwendolyn. Charlayan awaits. Na 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 na. There's also now accompanying you. Lead your two companions to the last stand and speak with crowd at a designated location. You may encounter conversation points along the way which will topics of discussion. Okay. Right, you two, let's go. Let's go around and get all the Let's go up here and attune to this. Then we'll head to the last stand. Archon's design. The last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparations is quite extensive, the average Charlian tends to regard seasoning and the flavouring with a certain indifference. How can I put this? The food is bland. It's encalpsed by our infamous Archon life. The prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary, value first, and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the stadium, however, who could stomach the school's inspid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Charlayan. the one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their bugger... Oh. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. That was an accident. I didn't intend to say that word. Because you're a typical Charlian when it came to cheap and convenient, Raha. But surely Tartarus has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe there will take us to the... we've just been there, so... Off we go! We've already attuned, so that's good. Your companions have yet arrived. Be sure they are at your side before continuing. Where did Graha Tyr go? Oh, there he is. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, that it is perfectly functioning. Ezra, remember to chain yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the confluence of research which is located in the very positive. In deciphering the underlying principles of Allagan Aetherites, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our paths lead northeast to the market. So everyone's already by the market board. Oh, dude, that is sick. Reapers are the second best class in the game for gear. Welcome to Agora, where you can find wares made in Cheyenne as well as a wide selection of important goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes for the various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out for the most part. Otherwise, I could think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. And am I overselling it? I am. On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one much has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose. We must head back to follow the path north. Did we go too north? Okay, north. I was going north as assuming north of the Aetherite, but obviously. Well, I suppose this is north of the Aetherite. I went in the wrong direction, alright? Let's just be honest. I went in the wrong direction. I don't know where I'm going. This is the first... Oh, it stopped snowing. Oh, this is nice. This is Niflheim, an area dedicated to the blessing of water. For Shalaine's water represents more than a life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the Great Flood, which the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from the divine era. This is the reason you see an ambience of fountains throughout the city and a propensity for utilising water as a decorative feature in our architecture. Oh, okay. Up we go. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies from here. One can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my arrival on the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlements I could think of, the great city of Charlia. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community, the Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the councillors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. East. This way. Oh yeah, that's where the thing is. Another way right. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Archon Niekrep built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Charlian families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbours. The estate belongs to our friends from House Levier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance from there for the time being. And with that, we bring our Charlian tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to Baldician Annex? You remember the way, don't you? Let me think. We head down towards the harbour, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aethra Plaza. Correct. After you, Gwyn. Gotta go back towards that way. definitely informed you. This is the Bastion Annex. If you continue up the hill, you arrive to the doorstep of the phenomenon. But I think we've explored enough for one day. We can take you there another time. Here we go. With me. Ah, you were right about the ship. Then hello, Graha. It's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Gwendolyn. I'll have many tales of your exploits. Ojika? Ojika? To Sanjika? Ojika to Sanjika. Ojika to Sanjika. It has been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika to Sanjika. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Administration officer for the students of Baldician. He oversees the day-to-day business of the annex. You may recall meeting his cousin, Ejika. Oh! So it was... Right, okay. Oh, yes. Eureka. I've read the initial reports. All these bloody names. Quite a shock to hear what's become of the Isle. Do take care if you have the opportunity to rejoin the expedition. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had an occasion to visit Charlene. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the Isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. And yet it feels so empty, with so many lost to us. Our organisation is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure that telepore for that. Though that the door on the left there is in the main hall, we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you probably have time to rest before our discussion begins in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Ardrum, so please feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap rooms. Perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed. Far more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. I like the cheap roadside inns. 'Twas simply that we were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys aboard that we would slip into the Arden just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. Say the word and I'll be able to show you to your chambers. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you in the main hall. Could do with a nap. I had a nap earlier actually. Don't need another one. 10-minute nap I had. Jesus. Where are we going, in here? Feeling refreshed and alert? Our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them till they join.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldesion. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nidana, an alchemist residing in distant Favnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal. In response to this threat, the Satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Oh, coincidink!
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnarian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Right.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts. You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking. Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavner. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavner on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
Certain changes come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the Forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the Council as direct is a fruitless endeavour. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scoring Sharlayan's archives of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day, but now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all swifter. Let us convene outside Neomum, shall we? Exit the annex to the right and you'll find the archives on the west edge of the woods. Na, 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 na. We'll do this one first, up until as long as we can. Loading times, so slow. grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually on an entrance, and one of the many at that. For the archives of Neuron extend deep within the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great Bugle Library has into numerous endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Charlene is free to enter and pursue its shelves, well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are offered access to the certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Ustalo and Roja to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alizé and Avno will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor. Here at the entrance, even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Charlone's history of formal forum policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you our working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of cute clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Brightly coloured books. Long ago on an island in the North Sea there was a Rogadan man by the name of who was a student of astrology and divined the flight terrifying proportion would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea, so it was that he built a gigantic ship and assembled a crew and set sail for the Imperial realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror the strange churling waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Necro's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Necro wove a mighty spell of teleportation and swifted the entire ship to safety atop. Spying refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supplies of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Cuthbert gathered to his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned the ark to those rendered peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship intended upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. The settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharon we live in today. Many years ago, on the banks of the Derivian hinterlands, the Charlene colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea. In the year 6th Asher's era, scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting and demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumours spread of growing communities of academics, their area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Charlenes. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognise what had become of a flourishing town as an official Charlene colony. Eorzean residents took to calling itself Charlene, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussing turn to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Charlene inhabitants, if pressured for a name, would simply refer to themselves as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Ildershire. Which I have to go into the truth. Ildershire, this book does not appear to contain. Okay. In the years of which following the founding of Charlene, civil policy and other matters of importance, we decided a Scylla, a public forum in which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impartial. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 2001 of the 608 it was ultimately decreed that Charlian would transition into a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of nationwide vote. Thus was the Forum as we know it today convinced and created. No, I don't think that one will do it. Forever 20 Summers. Time-worn Tone, Stewards of Wisdom. I am just going to click through these just so we can get on with it. During the chaos of the 600 calamity. Yeah. Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Cry should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion as I could see no titles in Archon stacks mentioning the final day specifically, so we had no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant terms, if there are even there. Oh, that is cool. Like the lights come on. That's neat. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate, plenty of comfortable places to read, and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Charlian, we were not allowed to cross the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the Forum will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Gratia? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Ah, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlian, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Illibard, in fact, for generations my people have dwelt in Corvus, the coastal region opposite the island of Thavanir. The Allegans found a city in that fertile land and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikoti to serve as labourers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth umbral calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the fifth calamity froze the sea solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvus braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allegan technology from being misused. Isn't Corfus under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemold renamed the region Locus Emanatus. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favour of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allagan eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliable as it once had. Fear of discovery of eventually tipping the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Allag. As the last child born with the Allagan eye, I was given over the custody of friends and students of Baldusian, who had me registered as Sharlayan citizen. I never even considered, forgive me, it was an uncommon question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louis, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs, and rescued orphans are more common among Sharlayans than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with the sufficient sufficient perspicacy, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. This is exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Here, another good reason to get to the bottom of Forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Gwendolyn. More company should be arriving any moment now. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say the picking were quite slim indeed. Mistress Cryle has already flickered through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the Umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarok firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking quite critical details. My thanks. Now where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomenon did the ancients encounter as the final days of Jordai? A complete destabilization, creation magics, primals of unrivaled power were summoned from the aether, the worst kind of phenomenon you can imagine. I think it was that one. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyse. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Stoller summarized that the closest known magics is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Essenes. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? The entire star was engulfed by a disaster all at once. They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Ah, yes. The Amaritines spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. But it seems that each and every one of those catastrophes was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually it resounded all across the star, not even Amarant was spared. So the ground was crying out, you say, to be considered the harbinger of doom. It must have been quite distinctive and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of the Mamets and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? Yes, with Elidibus serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lies sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls that intended to render unto Zodiac a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of love once absorbed by the primal. Or might have had Venom and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidemann. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of the events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telepori truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs, is forcing people to summon primals as a kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by the unstable creation of magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of the destruction they plan to unleash? Sigh, but this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Y'shtola, but 'tis time we began studying these research papers. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of Arkenstag's preceded one or two possibly useful books. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflection from the Gurren oracles for its potential to cause panic and confusion. That tome was deemed acrophora and sealed away in the Great Global Library. 'Tis even less likely that the knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason then that my colleagues, be they archons or counsellors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet, when you confronted Master Foucant with knowledge of the Tephori and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behaviour is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty whether they contain mention of the final days or not. These books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. He's been fucking stood here for about several hours waiting for you to come out. Thanks, you Stoller. You labour for what feels like an age for Stoller's research assistant. It's pretty funny. Oh dear, you look exhausted, but what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? Then the days was well spent. Should we wish to read them again, a Mamet at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Oh. Ready for a tea break, Gwendolyn? I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around a bit. You know the last stand in the harbour, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables and I'll treat you to the coffee. Na, 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 na. Wrong way. As busy as ever, I see. How very Charlene that no other garment cafe has struck up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telefori. We might even learn something new worthy a try, don't you think? Now accompanying a keeper to your side, proceed to yeah, okay. Where are we going then? Speak to this person. What is it? Can I, man, not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Telefori. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear and... Wait, you're that House of Levier girl, aren't you? And this man with you is obviously a foreigner. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumour. I'll thank you to leave me be. I've naught to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologise. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Gwendolyn. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Ferro and the unconscious plans. My goodness, is this young Miss Levier? My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum and I would... And word reached Master Fucker that I was helping you. I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Welcome, sir. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Elizabeth? I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion between lessons at the stadium. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? It's complicated, and I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Levier. No matter how discreet Master Falconer may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now of all times? We have question only on Charlie and has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about the apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And what's that you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak to me. I wish there were more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlene, aren't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders, strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea, I hate to ask, but would you do it, you think? Fetch quests! That's the spirit. Pay attention. Now I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The cheese set is for the charity group sitting by the water's edge. The omelette is one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see a Mukut gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? Oh, fuck. We'll find out, won't we? We will find out. I'll sit up right. You work here, don't you? I'm still waiting on that charming... Oh, shit. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you. For who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events now. If you wanted to hear about the ritual arcane practice of the Sixth Astral Era, common or hysteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. So the two ladies wanted the omelette. Ah, finally, 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's dig in. No time to waste. What? Yes, I remember seeing the name in the last gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The Forum made the right choice, and I support our decision to remain neutral. You don't need to butter me up, you know. I've already ordered one of the most expensive things on the menu. At last, the big lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimpered and saved suffered to afford this heavenly dish. Final days. This is the first I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to the gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Shiny, priceless books, unusual life specimens, and so forth. So name for the folk who trailed after the reapers in the field, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Telepori make good of their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in the frenzy? Watch the harbour and you'll see what I mean. They're catering loads in form of the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before, not like this.
Here we go! Let's go!
Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get any talking? Interesting, they seem unaware of the final says or flying from whatever vague news that gets printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy our drink somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the... still away from the gossip. Yes, this should do nicely out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant.
God damn it. No.
Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. a vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Catch up game, come on. There we go. We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to Neuron and I'll join you in a moment. It makes sense the Gleaners take their requests directly from the institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and cargo, it certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let us see what theory we could build from the facts. As Y'shtola observed earlier, Nimron's archives appear to contain no information of concerning the final days. Funny. Coupled with that, what Gwendolyn and Alizier learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that the most Sharlayans know nothing of the particular period of ancient history. Funny. Why? Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telophoroi is wholly unlikely these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzeus' request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilised on unprecedented scale. And do not think it's stretch to concede that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthus and assess the situation for ourselves, and we're likely the Gleaner will be more reciprocative to our questions. What should we expect down there? Reasonable question. Oh, I would hate to spoil the surprise. Okay. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would a great help. Someone didn't write that properly. That would be a great help. Let's head down the stairs over there and I'll show you where the entrance is. Right guys, we're going to head to this entrance and then... Ready? It's not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorientating. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Follow his aim and try not to fall behind. Off we go then. Oh god. Oh god, this is just... Why can't I, like, set it to follow her? Okay, that's cool. Why? Why would they do this? Now we run, try to keep up. Thank God for that. I thought she was going to do that the whole entire way. Keep to the path straight ahead. We cross this bridge. Up here. I want to get the... really want to get that eighth right, but... No, I didn't. So it's attuned to the aetherite here. We're all here now, yes? I've taken the liberty of securing permissions for our group's descent. Right, everyone onto the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves. And this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh.
Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
I haul it. Every decade or so they take stock and sort of tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before though. They did just one a few summers ago. Even then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high demanded if I knew the reason could be that they're changing the layout, preparing for the next big expansion. Your exchange is talking about taking something. I did say I was going to go get a cup of tea, didn't I? It's time. Let's do this a little bit. Let me think. The rare seeds should be item 1058, coming seed 1059, strawberry 1060, or were they 1061? Ah, my head feels like it's suffered with mucko browse. Why more loads to take out and carry in? Why do all this at once and risk missing it all up? What if someone mistakes the Catherine carrots? About carrots, what then? Your exchange picture about. You are here to help or give more Need more headaches because you don't have the look of a gleaner and I'm not in the mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues was exhausted. He took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have to pick a pack of marmots running loose. Your exchange room, I will talk to you about the exhausted gleaners. The Emperor has no clothes. Any luck, Gwendolyn? What tales did you glean? What tales did the gleaners have to tell you? Right, I will be back in a moment, guys. Just need to get a cup of tea. Oh, I've got to stand up for a couple of hours. Nearly 2 hours and a half. Right guys, I apologise, I'm back. I'm just going to shut the back door actually. Or the back door, the door. Not that I can actually shut the door. Rather embarrassing reason why that is the way it is. Let's put it down to I'm a fucking idiot. And leave it at that for the moment. Right, so, any luck, Gwendolyn? What tales did the gleaners have to tell you? Hand over. So this grand operation began without warning. For every item they bring in, they're sending more infantry somewhere else. That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right. The Forum is definitely up to something, and they're turning Labyrinthus upside down in the process. Are they working with... I didn't notice him there. Are they working? This is a good question. Are they working with the Teleorphy? That's a good question. And I'm not saying that because I said it. Okay, I am partially. I mean, I am the only person in the room, and there's not even anyone in chat. So I am the only person. So fuck knows who I'm talking to. We would do well to learn more of what specifically the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who has tasked them to do it. If you're game, Gwendolyn, I have an idea. Didn't one of the Gleaners you questioned say something about escaped marmots? Perhaps if you were to help him capture said creatures, he might be inclined towards a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting. Okay. I do like this nice music. Dun 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 da da da. Dun da dun da da da. You wish to help me find the marmots. I've nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I'd welcome the assistance. What the bloody hell is he doing? The name of Ervile, friend, specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of those Nagian marmots is a trial I've no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call them. For a mercy, there are no other marmot species on their tier at present, so they should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any stuff, then stuff them in this sack gently, of course. But to begin, you wonder, I've not seen any scrambling around here, so we'll need to widen our search into the surrounding forest. Be on your guard, these are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a marmot or to you. I'll search the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. So we're going this way. Search for grizzled mice. Da, 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 da. Oh, he looks like a big one. Somebody's already got flying. It's been a day, guys. Oh, that's better. I don't even have to place it now. Don't kill me. Troll. There you are, Marmot. Now get in the fucking sack, will you? Thankfully, the marmots seem to be unarmed. They've held up well in isolation, but it's much too soon to release them into the habitat. It's a good thing we were able to recapture them so swiftly. You have my thanks. Who tasked you with capturing the marmots in the first place? Why, the authority in charge of now in perpetuity, the same officials who've had us working day and night of late. The honourable members of the Forum, who else? Suitable for consumption and easy to breed, those were the two conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least I doubt they'll be served for the dinner today or tomorrow. They're gathering an ark, aren't they? This is what they're doing. They're doing the same things with... what was that guy in the books we were reading? I can't remember. Is this the Gleaner you mentioned? The one who was looking... Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk, anyway? I am Kryl, the student of Baldissi, and these others are my associates. Truth be told, the forum's decisions of late have not sat entirely well with us. That is why we made the descent into Lavros. We hope that we were seeing those decisions put into action. We might be more fully understanding their reasoning. Wise and practical never hurts to try and gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls. Other animals to capture, enclosures to empty. Once again, I'm sorry that I can't offer you more for your services. Did you learn anything new from your friend there? So we've confirmed that the order for the ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. Probably best. I'd say that this fits with everything we've heard thus far. We also discovered that when the operation was begun, the Forum contacted the Gleaners guild ship and put their people to the great work some 4 days after the Terror made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travellers, the Gleaners keep abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus, I am inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, it gives the distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden, expected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such of a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinth and its archives could have been planned in so brief of a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. That would explain why every year they do it to get the catalogue right, and now they've got the perfect opportunity, and the Telephorori's declaration was what set all in motion. It seems likely, but let us not leap to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Lavros. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we may stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Archean? From there, we reach the lower... Cryo, what's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me a bit of a headache, that's all. Nothing that will stop me from soldering on. Let's be about it then. Something's up with her and she's not telling everyone. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the way to the Archean. We follow the path east through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse, or marmot was it? Anyway, 'tis the trolls you need to watch out for. You've never seen trolls before. It's a new aetheryte. Sync to that. Behold, the Enumeron serves as Charlene's literature archive. So does this structure house the city's wealth of material data? The architecture too is similar. This building you see is merely the upper entrance and an access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples of specimens, as well as the detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archon contains Contains a physical history of the Sharlayan's unwavering dedication to the acclamation of knowledge. Well, we won't learn anything of value standing out here. Let us proceed into the main building and speak with the custodian. Dun 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 dun. Gemstone trader. It's a pretty neat site, to be fair. Greetings, we are here to pursue the Archaean vaults. Per use, you are clearly not gleaners, then might I ask your affiliation? We belong to the students of Baldician, but is that relevant? I was given to believe that the vaults, those were open to the public at least, were open to the public. Ordinarily, yes, but that would be the case at present. However, the access is restricted. Only persons directly involved in the reorganisation efforts are permitted to enter. Oh, something's going on. Not us then. I suppose we had better move along to another facility. This building has a lift which connects to the middle tier, yes? Might we at least make use of that? That service has also been suspended, I am afraid, for the time being. Priority has been given over to the conveyance of inventory. What? So this is as far as we can go? I apologise for the inconvenience. Please come again after our reconstructing operation is concluded. By that time, it will be too late and we were so close to getting answers. We need to rethink our approach. Let us step outside for the moment, shall we? Students of Baldician, Yeah, I was going to say, you never said nothing about that. Why did they do that in public as well? Wow, that really makes the shit unfocused, doesn't it? How far does that go? How far can I unfocus this? That's focused, guys, isn't it? It's completely focused. But I doubt that our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by heartfelt pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. Fly! It is likely that the people in this area are involved in restructuring in one way or another. If we were to integrate ourselves, they might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let us ask around. Surely someone is in need of a few strong backs to lighten the load. Do I want to switch back to Reaper and go off and do some of those for a little while? let's get Mad Vide. War Panther. Yeah, this fucking works, doesn't it? Much better. I did a gleaner fellow heading out the gate there, though shouldering a large pack and engaged in some manner of task. Maybe he'll be headed down below after he's done with whatever it is he's doing. I have no idea whether this is going to be a good idea, but hey. Level 80. Okay, should we give it a go? Should we attack something? Okay. Okay, this was a bad idea. This was a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Ow. Okay, we do need to do duty roulettes. So shall we do some duty roulettes? Elegant tombstone of Aphosium. Fuck, I'm not going to be able to do that now, am I? Okay. Dawn. Here we go. quick. Oh, bollocks. Oh, that's what you have to do. Okay, so you have to... Anyone? I needed one on that. Are you joking? I think after we've done this alliance raid, guys, I'm going to come off for a bit and then come back on, play a little bit of Hades, and then I think tomorrow I think I will. I might stream later on tonight. That'll be Halo Infinite's campaign. And if I can't stream that, and it's too buggy, it's too laggy, whoa. Bitch, do you mind? I do love this class, it's just so good. So cool running around with a scythe. Switch the light on. In a second. Well, we'll cut the string off this, so. Right guys, we're going to call it quits here today. Got up an extra level, because that's always handy. So I reckon I can make a level just with 2 roulettes in a day. Which isn't too bad.